那是他这样才能画出一定的高度啊。
对，你老是有一个换钱的打算，你肯定有一种为这个势力所左右。
对，那就是画匠嘛。对。Hello everyone. Good morning again from the peak of Mount Huangshan. 你好, Xin. Haven't seen you for a while. Heard of this place a lot. DS. Great to see you again, guys. Thank you so much. You know what? From my face, you can see that the sun is coming out. This is great news. That means we are likely to get some good sunset moments this afternoon. And of course, for this tour, it's a good news. Yeah, it's a great news. We can get to see better spectacles in Mount Huangshan. And just now, when the tour just started, I was talking to a man who happens to be my bedfellow. And last night, you know, I told you about this. I stay here for 2 nights, and I stay in a shared room with 8 beds. And that old man last night, he slept head to head with me, but he didn't know that. I actually talked to him last night a little bit. Maybe he didn't notice me in darkness. But just now I met him again, and he actually is a painter. Later I'm going to show you his paintings, and he's now drawing the sketchy images of what he's seeing now. I will show you later. Bedfellow makes it sound like you are sleeping in the same bed. Okay, it's a kind of a bedfellow. Yeah. Strand bedfellows. Different bedfellows. Let me flip the camera to show you the scenery here. I'm now standing at a different peak. After the first tour this morning, I walked around a little bit, and I think from that peak in the morning here, I walked not too long, 40 minutes, and I got here, and I found the scenery here great. I decided to stay here, waiting for the start of this tour to show you the spectacles around here. Look, there is this old gentleman. He's drawing. Later, let's see what he's drawing. The peak I'm standing on now is called Qunfengding, which can be translated into Cluster Peak Summit or Group Peak Summit, either way. From that name, you can tell that it commands a great location for views. You can see a lot of peaks around here. Yeah, this is actually, you know what, this is actually a hidden gem in Mount Huangshan area. Most people, they go to famous peaks and they don't realize how great this peak is. Let me show you the vast views down here. Trish, first tour with you. Hi Trish. Really? I kind of remember your name, maybe a different Trish. Welcome to my tour. This is one of the largest valleys or gorges in Mount Huangshan. And here in Mount Huangshan, the whole scenic area is divided into 5 zones. They are called Heavenly Sea, which is in the middle, Northern Sea, Southern Sea, Western Sea, and Eastern Sea. You may wonder why their names are called sea instead of a mountain. That is because the most spectacular view people wish to see in Mount Huangshan is the clouds, the sea of clouds. Yeah, that's why people they actually divided the whole area into places named after a sea. That's why actually now we are overlooking the Western Sea in Mount Huangshan. Here is the most spectacular. I'm standing at an elevation of about 1,800 meters above the sea level, some 6,000 feet. This is the most famous mountain in this area, Mount Huangshan. It's in Anhui province in southeastern China. And now let's look at the peaks from this side. There's the Lotus Peak, the one that is located on the left of the view. That is the Lotus Peak. It looks like a lotus flower. It is believed to be the place where Bodhisattva of mercy, goddess of compassion, resides in the world. Of course, they usually dwell in heaven, but sometimes they descend to the world. And of course, they have to have places for them to live. Here in this kind of mountain, Chinese people believe immortals live. And if you're a hermit seeking for absolute isolation from the hustles and bustles of the real world, this is the place for you to come and live as a hermit. In Qing Dynasty, there was a hermit monk who lived here for over 30 years. All right, and now let me pan my camera to this peak. Now, the peak in the middle of the view is called Tianji, is Yunji Peak. Sorry, not Tianji, Yunji Peak. In English, it can be translated into the peak of Cloud Top. Cloud Top Peak is the one now in the middle, the closer one. And now let me move a little bit to the right. You can see on the far side there are two peaks, but in between there are some small stones that sticks over there. Now let me zoom the image larger for you to see better. Actually, there's a name for this scenario. Can you see? On the far side between two peaks, a few different rocks, huge rocks that stand over there. And this is called Journey to the West. This is called Journey to the West. Let me make it bigger for you to see better. Journey to the West. Let's look at it from right side. The first one looks like a Monkey King. And he is followed by his master, Tang Monk, who is now sitting on the horse, the white horse. Can you see that? All right, now the Tang Monk is followed by Sandy, the untalkative, hardworking monk. And he usually is the one who does all the errands. Now he's pulling all those miscellaneous items they need for travel. And the last image behind looks to me like a pixie, the pig spirit. This is a group of 5 members traveling to India to get the precious scriptures of Buddhism. This is a famous story in China. How should TV series, you know what, actually, as a matter of fact, Journey to the West as a TV series that was filmed in 1980s has been so far the most successful TV series in the sense that it has the most replays. People just enjoy watching it again and again. Thank you, Diana and Tori. Later, I'm going to walk from here, and I will show you another famous attraction in Mount Huangshan. It's called Flying Over Peak. It's actually one pretty tall stone that stands on a peak. And the stone itself is over 500 tons. Well, the bottom of the rock doesn't look smooth, doesn't look very flat. So it's just amazing for you to see that such a huge stone is able to stand there. And it seems as if it would just be falling anytime. But it has been there for so many years. And this is my bedfellow. Almost like a bedfellow because yes, we did last night sleep on different beds, but we actually, our heads were just maybe 20, 30 centimeters away. And I didn't sleep well last night, mainly because of he's driving pigs to market. But later, he woke up pretty early, around 3 o'clock. It was the time for me. Later, got some sleep. So funny. And I just happened to meet him here as a coincidence. Look at the work he's working on. That's right. He is an artist. Actually, before the tour started, I had a chat with him. And he used to be a teacher in a university. Of course, he worked in different places, but he used to be a teacher in Nanjing Normal University. Great. Beautiful. I thought actually he was like 60 years old, but just now he told me, guess how old he is? 您尊姓啊？
没有，我姓朱。
姓朱是吧？
朱啊，朱，74岁。
He just told me that his last name in Chinese is Zhu. It's a common last name in China, and he's 74 years old. Maybe I will come back to him again for just maybe a talk tour in the Mount Huangshan later at some point. And I would love to know his experience as a teacher and as a traveler about all different things, if you are interested in that. Actually, he is very willing to do that with me. So that's great, actually. You know, I have a series of tour that is focused on individuals about their work and life. So definitely this is a great encounter between him and I here in Mount Huangshan. Never in his 70s seriously well. Hi, Laurie. Let me show you some other peaks at a different angle. Oh, before I leave here, I haven't talked about some other peaks. Sorry. And just now over there, we saw the Cloud Top Peak. And then an interesting scenario of some rocks that is a journey to the west. And now this peak is called Stone Pillar Peak. 石柱峰 in Chinese. 石 is a stone, 柱 is a pillar or column. Stone Column Peak. The next one over there, a little bit shorter one, that is called Double Bamboo Shoots Peak. That one is easier to understand. Double Bamboo Shoots Peak. All right, there's another great one over there. The big one I'm talking about. And that one is called it's kind of coming out of my mouth, but I'm trying to record it. But you know, the name of that peak also has something to do with the cloud. Yeah. And here, actually, I also found a interesting small peak right here. And there is actually a pine tree that grows at the top of it. Well, see, that one, the pine tree at the top, is dead. This one actually reminds me of another peak that I showed you on yesterday's tour. The first one I did here in Mount Huangshan. And I showed you an interesting peak that is called 梦笔生花 in Chinese. It means in English, dreamed pan, begetting flower at the top. That one looks like this one. Same idea. It's a tall and thin peak that stands there with a pine tree that grows at the top. So that pine tree here in this case is like a flower that grows at the top. So here in Chinese culture, 梦笔生花 itself is also a proverb, and it suggests one's literary talent. For instance, when you write an article, the content is so vivid and lively, as if a flower comes out of the tip of your pen. This is what this proverb is used, how this proverb is used in China. But here in this case, it's very similar to that one. Yeah, but the difference here is this one, in this one here, the pine tree is dead. But let me tell you one thing that is a lot of people actually don't know about. Actually, in the original 梦笔生花 peak, where people can see the robust pine tree at the top, you know what? Actually, that pine tree also perished back in 1982. And then later, people, they used a plastic replacement for 19 years. During those 19 years, very few people realized that one actually was a fake flower pine tree up there. Then 19 years later, they managed to use some techniques to move a similar pine tree and graft it at the top of that tree. So now when you get to see 梦笔生花, that pine tree is a real one. But for 19 years after 1982, it was a plastic one. Maybe they can do the same thing to this one, right? If they did that to that tree, I mean, they can do this to here. All right. 朱老师，我到那边先去拍一下哈，你在这边，我们反正到的时候可以在房间里面再见的。About 1 hour ago, I started to see some sunburst, a little bit sunburst, and but not consistent.
给我拍一个好是吧？给我拍一个。
我现在不方便，因为我正在。 There's a cable line. There were 3 cable lines in the Huangshan scenic area, plus 1 train track. Did you notice actually from where I was standing just now, there was a train track, and it is a ride people like to take to enjoy the views in the gorge that I was showing. I forgot to mention that. Is that a house in the distance? It's not a house, it's a building. It's a building that is the terminal of the cable line. You didn't notice? Let me go back quickly to show you it. Because it's quite special, it's a train track. Now you see that building, this is the terminal of the train track. And can you now see a track there? Yeah, that is the one. And it goes down to the depth of this gorge for people to see the views on the right. Okay. Look at those pine trees. They look just like soldiers in a military parade. Yeah, that is steep. It's one of the most amazing gorges in Mount Huangshan. It's called Western Sea Gorge. How high is the mountain? The mountain is 1,864 meters at the highest peak. And I am at the height close to that, but not at the highest peak, but close to that. There are different peaks, and those peaks are usually at the height between 1,500 to 1,800 meters above the sea level. All right, here are the views on the other side. This morning, I did a tour there. Do you see a globe? It is one of the highest peaks in Mount Huangshan. And that globe is a part of the building that belongs to the local meteorological observatory. There is also a hotel there. Thank you, Norman. Is the train track that steep all the way down? Yes, Sandy. Okay, guys. Now you're looking at the flying over peak. Let me put it in the middle of the view so that you can spot it out. There are some people watching it under the stone. That is one huge rock that stands on a peak. The standing rock weighs over 500 tons. And later I'm going to walk from here there, hopefully in maybe 10 minutes, to show you the stone from below. Thank you, Laurie. It's about 200 meters from where I'm standing. I should be able to get there in 10 minutes. Weather is getting much better than this morning. This morning when I was trying to do the sunrise tour, it started to sleet first and then rain later. Again, just like what happened today at 10 o'clock. But today it started to sleet and rain right here. But now, good news is it's getting clear and the sun is starting to come out. There's a good chance for us to see the sun set this afternoon. And tomorrow the weather is going to be sunny. So I'm very hopeful for a good sunrise tour tomorrow morning. This morning sunrise tour actually didn't expect. As I posted yesterday, the weather didn't look like it was sunrise. But I just went there for try. Okay, let me get down to that flying over rock. Oh, there's background noise. Sorry, it's quite windy. I should go down to avoid the wind. It's quite cold, and the temperature is going down now. Tomorrow is going to be a sunny day. You know, this is what happens in winter. When you get a sunny day, the temperatures are always lower, and when you get maybe some warmer days, relatively warmer days in winter, it's possibly a rainy day. The wind is too loud there. Okay, now I'm walking down towards the flying over peak. I think in China there are different flying over peaks or rocks. At least in Hangzhou, one of the metropolitan cities near here, the capital of Zhejiang province, they have actually that flying over rock in the temple, the Lingying Temple. I mean, flying over, this is just a favorable imagery of Chinese people. It just looks and sounds very romantic when you get to see a rock that stands in a queer way, so much so that you cannot figure it out. You may just call it a flying over peak, because there's no way that it can just happen like that in rational thinking. It must be flying from somewhere, from the heaven. It doesn't exist in the world. It's from heaven. Oh, Helen, yeah. The wind noise adds authentic mountain atmosphere. Oh, that's a great interpretation for me. There are more tourists because today, I think Huangshan Scenic Area opens at 8 o'clock. And you know what? Tomorrow, it's going to be open 1 hour earlier. At 7 o'clock, people can enter. But today, it's still the winter mode. People can enter at 8 o'clock. So when they enter at 8 o'clock, they need to first take a shuttle bus to get closer to another entrance, a direct entrance to the scenic area. And then people either walked all the way up here, which could take maybe 3 to 4 hours on average, or by a table, or they take a cable car. And then from the terminal of the cable car, they can walk. Do they walk all the way up? I don't think so. I don't think so. This group of tourists is composed of relatively old members. They probably came up here in a cable car. Look.
所有人休息一下，之后上观明地，先到观明地，先休息，先拍照啊，休息好再吃饭。后面也快点准备。后面好走了啊，前面路走到左边走啊，只有8号船、9号船的啊。
你们刚刚从飞来时过来的是吧？
对。
哦。
这个跟南往北上的呗。
啊？
你跟南往北来的呗？
什么意思啊？
我说你是跟南边上的呗？
我是昨天晚上住在这里。我是云谷索道上来的。你们今天早上刚上来是吧？
对。
哦。Yes, they told me that they just came up. They just entered Mount Huangshan this morning and came up this morning, right? Wow, wow, wow. You know what? It's funny. This morning when I did the sunrise tour, in the end, I showed you a sign talking about a natural phenomenon. Yeah, but somehow people, they glanced at another sign talking about virtues of Chinese people. Yeah, and went back and looked at the reviews. It was funny. I didn't notice, and I think that's a sign says something like, "Leave behind your virtue." Something like this, but don't leave something. Leave behind your virtue. So that means Chinese people still leave a lot to be desired in their civility. So they need a lot of signs to remind them. That's the kind of logic behind. This must be quite a climb. Okay, I'm getting closer to the flying over peak. It's there. How do you like this view? All those pine trees. The way the pine tree just stretches out in layers is just so different, so charming. And it's evergreen. Good workout by walking. Exactly. Look at those pine trees. They grow tenaciously on the cliffside. Everywhere. As long as there's a crack. And when the seed of a pine drops in, it is possible to grow out of it for years, for many years. There's some kind of acid that is released from the plants that allows them to etch into the rocks to get the nutrition from the minerals in the rocks, in addition to the other nutritions from air and the water here. This is a Huangshan pine tree. Are the mountains volcanic? It's not. There's no volcano. There's no crater here. It doesn't exist. And Huangshan Mountain, geologically, didn't exist back 200 million years ago. 200 million years ago, this area was still flat. Not a hair of Mount Huangshan, today's Mount Huangshan, existed back 200 million years ago. So just imagine how nature has shaped the surface of the earth and everything else. And Huangshan Mountain is located in eastern China, which is relatively flat. In China, geographically, there are 3 tiers. For instance, Tibet, Himalaya Mountain, the Everest, that is the first tier. Mountains over there are 400 meters above the sea level. And then there's the second tier. Second tier is in central China. East to the first tier from Tibet, etc. And they are about 1,000 to 2,000 meters. And now we're in the third tier, the relatively flat part of China. And there are mountains here, on average, they are 500 meters or 1,000 meters. But this is the greatest mountain here in this eastern part of China. Here is the sedan chair. The sedan chair service. This is available in different high mountains in China. So when you are really tired, or maybe you just want to swag a little bit, you can hire those porters to carry you. And yesterday I saw a lady who was sitting on the sedan chair, and she was carried by 2 men. And last time there was a piece of news report saying that a heavy man who weighed, let's say, between close to 300 pounds. Yeah, close to 300 pounds. And he hired the porters to carry him. And he spent a lump sum that was 3,000 yuan for his ride. In present-day China, there are a lot of high rollers. Indeed, a lot of people, they have made a good amount of money, and they just sometimes kind of squander. Yeah. Because look, back 30 years ago, China was a very underdeveloped society. And to some people who, for example, were educated in villagers, and when they now have that kind of money, they do squander. In China, there's a term called 土豪. 土豪 means those people. They are the new rich, new very rich, spending money like there's a hole in the pocket. Yeah. All right. We too have exact such portals to ferry tourist pilgrims in hill areas. Okay, you have it too. Vipasha, are you from India? I guess such things can only happen in countries like maybe China and India, or maybe some other Asian countries. I don't think it's something that is going to happen in Europe or in America, in North America. I don't think so. So, and your name suggests Indian, so I'm just guessing that way. So let me know. Oh yes, you are from India. Okay, great. Vipasha. All right. Yeah. I mean, China and India are very different, but there are also similarities in nature, in spirit. So I got it right. And now there are people coming down from the huge flying over rock. I'm going to get there to show you the rock from the bottom. This is one of the highlights. There are the views. And just now the tour guide is calling his group members to come up quickly. Hurry up. 6,000 yuan for the sedan service is not cheap. It's not cheap. But you know, I said 3,000 yuan, not 6,000 yuan. But still, you can say 3,000 yuan is not cheap. Of course, it's not cheap. Yeah. But look, there are people who want to spend money. Is that a lake down there? Yes, Laurie, it's a small lake. And actually down here, at the foot of Huangshan mountain, there are sanctuaries. In the skirt part of Mount Huangshan, there are sanatoriums with hot springs. Did you hear me? A lot is common, you're right, but many things are different too. Sure, Vipasha, a lot of things are different, very different. That is what I said. Woo. Woo. That piece of rock is 500 tons. The flying over peak. Let's have a look at the bottom of it. How such a huge rock is able to stand. Woo. Be careful, be careful. You need to be careful. Look, this is what's beside me. A lake and a pavilion. But that one is a lake. It's not part of a sanatorium. But I just told you, Laurie, that there are sanatorium further down at the foot part of Mount Huangshan. Some people, after visiting Mount Huangshan, they go down a little bit to enjoy the hot springs over there. Wow. He is standing in a place that I'm reluctant to be. It looks to be dangerous on the edge of this boulder. Is there a village by the lake? No, there isn't a village by the lake because we are in Huangshan scenic area. This is the touristy part. There isn't any village here. No, and you may see some other buildings attached to beside the lake, but those are just all commercial facilities part of the scenic area, hotels, etc. That is actually a water reserve. It's not a natural one. You can see the dikes built around this lake. It's not a natural one. Oh, it's getting very crowded here. It's too crowded. There are a lot of people standing here, and there are more coming up to join us. Oh. Don't put yourself in danger for us. No, Barry. I'm now putting my weight down. I'm sitting on the rock to keep it safe. Also to give way to other people coming up and going down. Tourists here are from all over China. You can hear different dialects from northern, from southern, from eastern, everywhere. All right. Let me walk around this rock. In Mount Huangshan, there's also this. You see it at different places. This is a people tie their locks here in wish for eternal romance with the one they love. Okay, before we finish, let me show you the steep mountains here again. Just to look at how steep it is. Thank you, Chin. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone. The tour for Mount Huangshan is scheduled for 45 minutes instead of 1 hour. So I guess I'm going to wrap up here to save my battery for another tour coming up later this afternoon. And there's a good chance for to see the sunset this afternoon. And tomorrow morning, definitely, there's a good chance to see the sunrise. So this time, if you're interested in seeing the sunrise from Mount Huangshan, you get to join my tour tomorrow morning. There's a good chance for that. Okay? Wow. There's a traffic jam. I'd better close here and get down and search this area around for potential other attractions that I can show you maybe in future. Okay, guys, I will just wrap up here. Take care of yourself. Until next time, it's goodbye.
他们人测下去，慢慢测下去。
静姐，你要是安全嘛，你就这还是比较像。